live,
which
everyone.
one? Is it the barricades when it was blocked off, or just when it was like blocked off completely, or when it was just one way?
It wasn't blocked off completely. It allowed cars from Route 40 to come on Erie Street.
Okay.
But
somebody at one point said that it was blocked off completely. I don't know, who was I talking to?
I don't know.
Captain Alton. He said at one point it was made into a like a no,
I had
a dead end street.
Good picture this morning. So
okay, cool.
All right, give me one more second. I apologize. I'm just. Does it say that you're live?
What?
You're live. I believe you're live to the public.
It says live up in the corner.
Okay.
Yeah. It was, Casey, what you were saying, you're right. At one time it was like you said, a dead end street. You couldn't go onto or off of Route 40 at one time.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that date, Paul. So, okay, well, we're going to get started. So we're going to start the Truck Traffic Safety Committee meeting. I'm going to try to turn up the volume so I can hear things better. I have this bad feeling the dog's going to run through any moment and start barking, so I'm apologizing up front.
You should be able to share your screen.
The door's going up. Okay, so thank you all for your patience. We've sent out a lot of documents, and I think we're getting towards the end of our project here, and hopefully just wrapping up a couple of loose ends and making sure that everybody's in concurrence with what we have moving forward. So first, I need somebody to make a motion to adopt the minutes from the last meeting.
I make a motion to adopt the minutes.
Second.
Dave, second. Anyone seconding it?
Sorry, I'm sorry. Could you hear me? I said second. Cassie, can you hear me?
Oh, thank you very much. Okay,
Sorry.
all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Fabulous.
That was an aye.
And thank you. So the first task, as I lose things here, the first task on our agenda, aside from the approval of the minutes, is to basically, I want to finalize our edits to the map and discuss the draft ordinance. So I'm going to share my screen and
Are you able to share your screen?
I'm trying to figure, I can't see where, I think here. I think it's here.
There you go.
Okay, but that's not what I wanted to share. Well, I'll show it to you really small. That makes life easier. We move things around for a moment. So I've incorporated into this map the larger map. The one thing, talking to Captain Alton, that we discovered that was not on here originally is Seagull Drive. Lewis, for your information, Seagull Drive is basically, I don't know how to describe it without being able to point. Can you guys see that my pointer on my computer?
Sorry,
Lewis,
Cassie. Yes, I can see it. Yes.
So right around here, and it's a road that comes off of 155, and it can connect back to this road here, which I'm blocking on what the name of that road is. Anyone? What is it? Is Canvas back?
Where are you at?
You see where my pointer is?
Yes.
What's the name of the blue road?
I believe that is Canvas back.
Yeah, Canvas back.
Yeah, that's Canvas
Okay.
Back Drive.
So it's a Seagull Drive is a very small road that goes off of here, and there is an exit off of 155 to go onto it. And the recommendation from Captain Alden is to add that onto our list of do not drive with the truck routes.
Okay.
So if everyone's in concurrence with that, we'll add it.
Okay.
Everybody good with that? Anybody?
That makes
I
sense.
think we should do that in the realm of a motion.
I make a motion that Seagull Drive,
Okay,
the list of roads that we don't want truck traffic.
thank you, Dave. Can I have a second? Louis, wait,
I'm sorry.
Still-
I wanted to give your local representatives a chance to second a motion like that, since I'm not really from.
Am
the
I
area,
allowed to
so-
vote or?
yeah,
second? Okay, second.
okay, thanks, EJ. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so we've added Arn to Seagull. Aside from that, is everybody okay with the map and wanting to make it final?
That's good with me.
Yep.
Okay. So can I have a motion to make it final with that edit?
I make that motion.
Thank you,
I'll second it.
Dave. And Paul, no.
Lewis. Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, so good, we got that done. Next thing on the list is to review the draft ordinance, and I'm going to pitch that over to Adam. Adam was going to be drafting that ordinance.
So the ordinance I'm suggesting here is one, delete what's currently on the books, which speaks to trucks going through residential areas, and replace it with what we're talking about here. But basically, this map and then that list of streets, that is the ordinance, basically. So the ordinance simply just refers to the exhibits and basically enacts them into our code. So it's really straightforward.
Right. So we
So-
haven't actually seen language around it. I'm sorry, Cassie. My
You're right.
apologies.
Go ahead, Louis.
I just wanted to check because I had looked earlier on the presentation, right, where it talks about, I think, the ordinance in an appendix, or maybe I misread that. So we haven't actually, appendix 3, draft ordinance and appendix 3. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't actual language for us to review. And that's your point, Adam, right? That it's really adoption of the map is in
That's right.
effect what the ordinance will be.
Yep.
Okay,
So
thank you.
however, that map, it looks like the map is final now, and then that list of streets, if that becomes final tonight, essentially the ordinance will be the vehicle to adopt those exhibits.
Okay.
Okay, so we would add the map, the streets with no truck traffic, and then the streets with truck routes.
Yep.
As the wording for the ordinance. Okay. And we would take out any mention of truck routes from anywhere else within C code.
Yes. And so pretty much the city code just now, and it's kind of outdated language, speaks to trucks of a certain weight can't go through commercial air or can't go through residential zones. And then it also speaks to signs have to be posted in a certain manner, and it gives the traffic engineer some leeway. But it's kind of unclear also. So we can just remove that. If you want to keep the sign posting requirement, we can do that as well.
Maybe
Yeah,
in
I'm
our
sorry.
own sign posting requirement then.
What's that?
Add in what we're saying in regards to sign posting requirements.
Yeah, I need to make sure that that isn't completely taken out, that we still are referencing the fact that there has to be signage.
Right.
So what?
Need the proper signage.
And that the
that is
signage has to be standard. What is the right way of phrasing it?
Conspicuous.
No, that it has to be like the same kind of
Uniformity.
sign. Here, it's on this one right here.
Yeah. The slide says, I think all current signage should be removed and replaced with standard signs, which then it says new signage should be consistent throughout the city and in full compliance with the Maryland Manual Uniform Traffic Control Device listing.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're stuck on that until we get get language to distribute.
Okay, I can send that out as soon as tomorrow.
Okay. So what we can do, I don't know if this is allowed. Everybody could respond back to me with any edits. Adam, and then we can
Yeah.
adopt it via email or not? Do we have to have another meeting?
How about this? In your discretion as chair, if you think we need another meeting after reading it, we do that. But I don't anticipate that you'll need another meeting for this.
Okay. Is everybody else comfortable with that?
We'll know better once we see the language.
Okay.
I agree.
Wonderful. Okay, so we'll just table that for now. So Adam will send tomorrow. Comments sent to chair.
Hey, look at this guy. Oh, sorry, man.
We say, give everybody, how long do you guys want for comments to come back? A week, 2 weeks?
I wouldn't think we would need that long if you just told us, we'll
I think
reply
it's gonna be
back in
really
just a few
distinct
days.
ordinance, honestly.
Right.
So how about this? How about, I'm floating towards the Bahamas next week. So if everybody could respond back to me by the, what's that Sunday? By the 25th,
25th is it.
is that good?
Sounds good.
What day is that, Casey?
Sunday.
It's a Sunday.
Okay.
Okay. If I don't hear from you, I'll follow up. Okay, so I'm going to table the rest of the work on the draft ordinance for now. And I'm going to, just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to focus us on the PowerPoint for the recommendations because they're just written out that way. So we'll start here. So our first recommendation was to adopt the map via ordinance, adopt the work group's map for designated truck routes within the city, draft ordinance in Appendix 3. Anybody have comment on that recommendation or any edits you'd like to see? Okay, hearing none. Next one was signage. Use standard signage throughout Havre de Grace. All current signage should be removed and replaced with standard signs. City should work in coordination with State Highway. New signage would be consistent throughout the city and in full compliance with the Maryland Manual Uniform Traffic Control Device listing, which says on local streets, the no truck symbol, which is the R5-2 sign, along with appropriate weight and route or street name information may be used. Locations for signage is listed on the spreadsheet, which will be appendix number 4. I wanted to find, and I couldn't find, Louis, the example
Device,
of what it would look like underneath that no truck sign.
device is spelled wrong. It's gotta be a C instead of S.
Got it?
So I think that probably you So there's probably two things that you want to put on there. One is, no trucks over, like we talked about previously, 10,000 pounds GVW. I'd put GVWR
What we had
actually,
in
and then,
Was 5 tons GVWR.
oh, you can say 5 tons as well. So that's fine actually. And then you would just want to put the street name, right? So no,
Do you have any
because it's an approaching,
Of what that
it's
would
an
look
approaching sign typically, right? So,
Right.
because you want to tell them in advance. Certainly you want signs on the roadway as well, but for the ones that are approaching a restricted route, you want to have something that has, on such and such street. I've been very hypersensitive to noticing those while I'm driving. So I see them a lot, and I think of this group every single time I see one, and I keep wanting to take a photo of a few, but unfortunately, when
Right.
you're driving, you can't do that. So
So I was not able to find, even in my Google look, I was not able to find a picture of what that should look like if it was done correctly. EJ, is that something you could help with?
Can you repeat what the question was? Sorry.
Can you help find an example of what the traffic sign would look like? It would be this no truck sign, and under it would be the
Yeah, MUTCD code. It says no vehicle over 5 gross vehicle ton or whatever it is.
yeah,
What are we talking about?
and then the name of a street underneath of it.
You want
I'd
me
like to
put-
put that
a
on this
template?
slide to provide example of what it's going to look like.
Okay. Yeah, let me look for it. Keep moving on. I might be able to find it fast enough.
Okay. And I want it to be specific. I want it to be the the correct one. Okay, so everybody good with how we have things written for that recommendation? Hearing no comments, we're going to the next one. Do not use signage for truck routes. The work group does not recommend placing truck route signage throughout this city of Havre de Grace. It would require too many signs and would not provide added value to the drivers. Everyone in concurrence, any edits you'd like to see on that?
So if we get any questions from council, they would probably say, well, how is a truck driver supposed to know what the route is? So I guess the question is, how are we going to communicate that out?
Right, and that was where we doubled back and found out that once it's in our GPS system,
Okay.
that's how it gets picked up.
Okay.
and it's also, as long as it's not a restricted route, prohibited, then you're not going to get cited for running on a non-restricted. I mean, but you want to encourage, right? You're trying to encourage trucks that these are the routes you want them on.
Right.
So yeah.
Should we say, because we had made a recommendation to communicate this with, do we have that further down? The next one down.
We have something about,
We have an outreach recommendation.
yes, that's correct. Yeah.
So, okay, so just leave that one there. Next is enforcement. At this time, the work group does not advise the use of camera enforcement due to the extensive resources required. The cost for a single unit is expensive, more than $4,000 per month per camera, and the investment would decrease over time. The need for greater enforcement with police citations for failure to obey a properly placed traffic control device, $90, and if collision is $130. If after 1 year the problem continues, reconstitute the work group to examine and evaluate next steps. Everybody in concurrence with that one too?
I tend to agree. I guess the key thing too is we don't have any, I guess, documentation or supporting documentation that shows that that particular issue is a problem. What the problem is trucks going on places like Erie Street, and stuff like that but it's not so much the height or the weight, per se.
Again, Dave, we keep coming back. The use of height and weight is just a measure to be able to enforce.
Right.
It's
I
not,
agree.
that's just a way for them to be able to
I agree.
enforce it. That's nothing more than that. But just so you all know, we've also had reports lately at city council with people saying that on Lewis, right in front of the high school, that there's a lot more truck traffic.
Yeah, but we handle that through the fact that you're not supposed to have truck traffic on Lewis Lane. Correct?
Say that again?
We handle that by saying that there shouldn't be truck traffic on Lewis Lane. So
Correct.
it has nothing to do with
No
vehicle
truck
height.
traffic, but it needs to be enforced
Right.
through police citations. Okay. Next up is Erie Street Solution, and I received several recommendations from people in the administration that based off of what recently happened with Erie Street, that we probably need to edit this a little bit. Lewis, just to keep you in the loop, we've had a large amount. I would say that there's been a lot of near misses on Erie Street lately, based off of increased traffic whenever there's an accident, but there's also a lot of truck traffic on that street. And the residents came and testified at city council talking about property damage, near miss hits with children involved, etc. So the mayor has decided to impose an executive order reverting Erie Street back to a one-way street. And that's effective as of literally today. So based on that, we need to edit this a little bit. And I know, Paul, you had made the recommendation of a one-way street. So we need to edit this in such a way that well, there's a wide variety of things. I think we also need to make a recommendation that there's some kind of measure, something quantifiable to say whether or not whatever they're doing on Erie Street is successful or not.
So we had a,
I agree, but if you noticed over the weekend, traffic is, backing up on Juniata and then all the way around up 155. And it seems like we need to somehow give notice to people coming down 155, that there's, it backs up. And by the time they come around that corner, there's stopped traffic there. So I don't know if we need to do something on 155. That was the only other thing I saw based on what happened.
Like that too, Paul. Even when when Erie Street was open, it would back all the way up 155 if there was an accident. Because on Juniata there, it's still just one lane of traffic. And you couldn't, unless you got into the other side of traffic, you couldn't get around everybody trying to make that right-hand turn onto Erie.
Correct. And I don't know if there's a recommended signage, that just alerts drivers come down 155 who we know are already speeding.
Yeah.
That there's stopped traffic ahead. Is there?
I was staying till 4th of July.
So I know where certain red lights have, it starts blinking when the light's about to turn red. Is there a way to add something like that to alert the drivers that there's stopped traffic there?
isn't there no stop traffic if you can't turn right on Erie?
What's happening is that this traffic, instead of flowing through Erie, gets stopped on Juniata Street, and then it rolls all the way back up to 155. So when cars come down the hill, they're not anticipating stopped traffic in that area.
But this is before the
Paul-
one-way.
But Paul, when that's happening, there's an accident anyway in that area. And people are also trying to make that right-hand turn onto Ohio. So it's backed up because of that as well.
Now, refresh my memory, based upon the executive order that the mayor is putting out, is Erie Street truly going to be a one-way? I mean, is it?
Erie is a one-way right now.
Okay.
As of today.
So for a resident, if I live on Erie, how do I get to my house? Do I
You
get,
have to go up to either Linden or Otsego, cut over to 40, cut back onto Erie.
okay. So I can only access it from Route 40.
Correct.
Weren't we going to explore also somehow connecting it to the next street over?
That
Ontario,
realm of
Yes.
possibility.
Right.
Ontario is a one-way.
Yeah.
Going which
Ontario's one
way?
Going,
Same way as Erie,
Yeah.
Erie.
right from
Ontario.
40.
Ontario's one way the same way.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Does it make sense to connect those two closer to Route 40 to sort of make
Well,
it like
we
a
would
loop?
probably take, there's no road really. And there's no right of way. To make a parallel the road, kind of like, like a parallel road like they do in Aberdeen for Route 40. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As you're going down 40, there's this parallel road off to the right-hand side.
Correct. I thought we were going to explore that, though. I didn't know if we had looked at whether or not the easement area of Route 40 was wide enough to allow for that.
Yeah, what else was there? I think there's also, there's a water drainage.
Lily Run goes through there, so there's a retention wall.
Yeah,
It's part of that. The whole
Towards
apartment
the end of Erie,
complex.
near the villa, right?
Yep.
Whatever it is.
yeah. Near the apartment building.
Did we see any truck trying to access Erie Street today?
So Nick, Adam, and I did a count this morning. I did from 6 to 7. Nick did from, I think, 7 to 8. I can report those numbers if you want.
What is that of? You did a count of what?
So when we flipped it to one way, we did it at 6 in the morning. So we had DPW come out, unveil the new signs that say one way, state of emergency. So yesterday when we were putting up the signs, we did so and then talk with the residents yesterday morning at the bus stop. And they were all saying they want one way. That's what the majority said.
Right.
So we pretty much moved the sign up a little bit, the warning signs. I forgot what they're called, Adam. Basically the caution signs.
Yep.
Mhm.
Effective immediately. Move those up, move 2 one-way signs or do not enter signs with one way on them facing the other way, unveiled them. From 6 to 7, we had about 22 cars. Hold on, I got
Attempt to go down Erie Street.
attempt to go down Erie Street the wrong way. One was a box truck from 6 to 7. So 22 cars / SUV I put. One was a box truck. At that time, there's still 6 cars facing the wrong way parked that we informed at the bus stop. To spread the word, tell them to flip around as well. Two motorcycles are also still flipped around the other way as of 6 in the morning. Between 6 to 7, we got 3 people that rolled their window down, said thank you, and 1 person drove by and clapped. So that was little feedback. That was good. One bus driver stopped and said, is she gonna be able to get by? The bus driver lady lives on the left side of the road, probably 10, 15 houses up. We told her yes, we saw a tractor trailer drive through there. And then there was about 80 SUVs / trucks from 7 to 8 a.m. Same thing, all positive feedback. There was no really, I could say that, right, Adam? There was really no negative feedback.
Absolutely. I mean, the residents in that area seem to be responding to this in a positive manner.
Yeah, I
So
think
there
the
were
big,
80 vehicles that went the wrong way.
Attempted.
Attempted to turn.
I think the biggest concern is what would happen is if the tractor trailer made the right-hand turn the wrong way and got to the dead end and was stuck. What's his options on?
Well, that's the same thing with the hose company fire truck and the medical truck, right? Or the sewer truck even. I heard stories of the sewer truck trying to get down there and then people just keep passing by. So if it was a dead end, it'd be almost impossible to turn around, right?
So can you put up a device that they could, for lack of a better term, just plow through if they had to?
Yeah, they're called delineators. We call them
Delineators.
monolithic delineators or
I
traffic.
mean, I'm not recommending anyone do that, but if it came to that.
Are those things like at the bottom of Chapel Road?
Yeah, that everyone drives through happily.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is in there, an access point right there. If you come down Erie Street, right there to the left, there used to be a fence up there, but the fence is no longer there. That, I mean, they could actually turn left into there. And
That's exactly what I was talking about, Dave. You can connect, I think, Ontario and Erie at that point. The apartment owner, we weren't so clear that he owned all of that, and he erected a fence. And that's why I say maybe it's worth exploring during this period.
That fence is open.
Well, I know it got open because it was chain closed and it was a hazard because when they have fire calls, you couldn't get to the building. So the issue is whether it can be open for, use as a road. So these folks don't have to go to Route 40 to get to their properties.
Can I share my screen? Is that okay?
Yeah.
And I'll pull
Yes.
up these parcels.
Bye. Did I unshare? Stop share. Hold on. Go ahead.
Okay, can everyone see this?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so right here, this is Erie Street. Over here, this is Ontario. So the parcels that Paul's referring to is owned by E-Writer LLC. It's right here.
Yes. And you see where that looks like a pilgrim hat part?
Mhm.
That, though, it's just so you know, that's probably from street level down at least 15 to 20 feet.
Okay.
And can you scroll down
This way,
the other way? Yeah.
this way.
Yes. Okay. So Paul, you're saying,
I think he's referring to this land right here.
yeah, I think there's right there's a little fence that used to be gated, but
yeah,
Like-
it's open right now.
it's open now. Yeah.
Since I've been here, which is 11 months, been open.
But it's not wide enough there to make it a road.
Right. There's that angle for turning alone, I think, is too tight for the trucks turning radius.
Now, the other thing that the council president was talking about was the potential for making, actually, Adam, if you could go back.
Sorry.
Well, the issue wasn't to use that for the trucks. The issue was to use it for the residents
Right.
on these two streets to connect them and
So-
create a loop for them. That's all.
The council president, Ringsacker, said that there is a paper road, which doesn't look like it's very much,
I would
that goes
think
behind all these residents.
this here, I'm imagining is probably a continuation of Hopper.
I don't think that's Hopper Lane, is it?
Over here is Hopper. See where my mouse is?
Yeah, but look at the distance between the property lines there versus
Yeah,
on the other side of the street.
I got you. This is my guess is that on paper, that's probably an extension of Hopper.
Isn't this something though that we should, whether it's that paper street or the area along Route 40?
We had a
To-
meeting about that, Adam. So basically the property line is in dispute where Hopper's Lane is because they built their sheds and
Mm-hmm.
fence lines and everything in that former lane. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that paper street in the middle is more problematic than trying to connect the two streets along Route 40. Like Casey said, like Aberdeen has, the little side roads that parallel Route 40.
I mean, yeah. Potentially if we bought the properties from him.
Well, if you look at it, his parking lot appears to be in the public easement. That's on one part of it.
Correct.
And then the other part of it, it's, there's room there to connect the two properties. I mean, it might not look beautiful, but you can connect the two roads there with a parallel connection. And if it's for use of the neighborhood, so that people don't have to go out on Route 40 to go back into their neighborhoods. Does that make sense? In other words, they wouldn't be the same direction.
Well, we would have to make Ontario
The
a
other
direct
way.
one-way to make it like it's a circle.
Exactly. Or a half circle. Exactly. You just turn it around the other way.
And then dead end both streets.
I think would be the idea. If you want to create more of a neighborhood there as opposed to access right off of Route 40.
All of this, I think all of this needs to be, there needs to be like a real study on it, an engineering study to see if it's even possible.
Well, if you were going to look at the paper street behind the houses,
Oh, yeah.
you'd have to do that anyway. So I think that's a little more problematic than just seeing if there's enough room there along Route 40 to connect them.
Although I will say Alan Fair's property, is it 843 Ontario? Nothing's built on that property. So if you did make a street that kind of went through there and around. It could happen, but there's still some sheds that needed and fence lines that need to be moved. I don't know. There needs to be that this is for a bigger. This is for a bigger discussion. So let's,
You've got this period where you've done what you've done with Erie Street. So if
Yeah.
a solution includes that, at least it's something that should be looked at and decided if can it be done or not. And does the neighborhood want it?
And
Right.
Keep in mind, in the event that we get pushback from the state that we closed Erie up, I think we just have to be upfront and say Erie Street was never designed for heavy traffic, especially trucks. It's a small residential street, and if you look at the width of it, we're creating a monumental problem by allowing trucks to access that road. And basically making it a nightmare for the residents. So we just have to.
oh, that's a good view there, Adam. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get any issues, certainly not from our industry. So I think the biggest question is if the residents there are satisfied with the solution you guys have come up with and aren't pushing back. It sounds like it's pretty
Well,
reasonable.
I think think, Louis, the pushback was when we had that perfect storm that just shut down Hampton Grace and Cecil County across the board.
Right.
The state was the one who came forward and said, you've got this road, as a dead end, you have to open it up. The state pushed for that, and so, we opened it up to see what would happen, but, we got a lot of negative feedback from the residents once that happened, so.
Sure. Okay.
So
And
you're right. We're not gonna get
EJ
pushback from the neighbors. The question is, what's the state's position gonna be?
Right. EJ, I know this is not probably the best path, but is it even possible to put a road over where that culvert is?
I mean, we could potentially, but there'd have to be a whole stream diversion, MD study, Army Corps of Engineer. Like even for Lily Run on the other side near the Revolution side, like
Mhm.
we had a contract there to go clean up brush and everything. And there's like a whole permit required. You got to go through Army Corps of Engineers. It's convoluted process. It's not as easy as, especially with that, it would need total redesign engineering.
Yeah. And I remember, I don't know, am I right?
is-
Or Dave, didn't that used to be like a major problem as far as flooding, right?
In this area,
That culvert specifically.
And that area is collapsing too. We saw it earlier. The guardrail or whatever is like falling. So I don't know what's going on with it, but it definitely needs some like shoring or something. But that might be an opportunity to work on it if it can be put in combination with this. I mean, it's an option.
Is it falling on the state side of it or on our side of it?
I'd have to compare the property line with the map, but is there a ground view, Adam?
it's probably the best I can get you.
Oh, okay. There's that little knee wall ditch
Mhm.
thing is like cracking.
Okay.
So.
Who
not really-
originally put that wall in? Does anybody know?
I'm assuming the property owner did it, but I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like designer. I mean, it's not.
Okay. Okay, so we've discussed that. Adam, can I go back and share the,
Yeah, actually, while I'm here, though, let me just show you what Dave Glenn was referencing. So this is the way
that picture?
it used to be. So the most eastern portion of the 800 block of Erie Street was one way, but the rest of it, so you could not, it was not an egress to Route 40.
Is that currently on Google Maps?
It is from 2013.
Okay,
That was kind of nice little
yeah,
lack of update there for us. So what that did allow though is it allowed two-way traffic for residents on the 800 block of Erie Street. And what that signage used to look like, I'll show you. So as you can say, no exit to US 40, residential traffic only. So it wasn't one way, it was only one way beginning. Basically, right here.
Were they
No,
still
West
using
Street
that as a
wasn't too
cut
bad.
through, Dave?
I don't recall that. It was just, I don't think we got a lot of negative feedback. It was just, the thing is that, once they opened it up and they allowed, vehicle traffic to go through there at access 40, that's when we started getting a lot of pushback.
If you were police, how do you know who is a resident and who isn't for going the wrong way?
You don't.
Well, the thing is, the one thing that you got to remember is the fact that it's because you approach it as a dead end. If you go there and the first couple times you go there and find out I can't get out, you do a U-turn and you don't do it anymore. You learn.
That might be when the fence went up, Adam,
Yeah,
because the residents were going up and just cutting a left.
Yeah. And you can see the fence there.
Yeah,
Which is why I was thinking if there's some way we could create that connectivity over to the other side, that might alleviate the problem.
Or like you had said before, Paul, making it a dead end street and trying to figure out a turnaround that would allow a large truck to make the turnaround. If we could make it
you need to make it like a court with a
yeah,
large circular turn radius. I got the dimensions if you need them for a truck turnaround.
have you gone onto a map, EJ, to see if it's even possible?
I
Because you got that stream there too.
I'm really hoping that by the signage we have where it says do not enter one way only, you're not going to get a lot of big truck traffic going through there, you know.
And if the
and word
residents
travels
happy
fast.
with coming
too.
on 40 to get
And the
to,
thing is, and even if you say, if you add something to the signage that says dead end, that kind of says to a truck driver, well, I don't want to go down there because if it's a dead end, I can't get out.
I think dead end is the cleanest solution. But okay. So we need to make a recommendation.
We probably should recommend exploring going back to how it looked back in 2013 or connecting over to Ontario if there's some way to do that.
Adam, can you stop sharing so I can put the words back up?
I think connected to the Ontario is going to be a real challenge, but I just don't think that, I mean, if you cut through where that gate is, the property over there is going to, scream and holler,
Okay, so a design
we can
solution
explore it
should
and look
be-
at it, but I think that we're going to come up short-handed on solutions, viable solutions. I think once you make it a dead end and you hold true to it, the word gets out, then, the problem goes away.
Do we want to say traffic study or engineering study? Or traffic and engineering study?
I think it's more like an engineering study, isn't it? Because I mean,
it depends what the goal is. Is the goal to get it as a dead end or a roundabout as a court, or is the goal to alleviate the vehicle
The
traffic?
goal is to figure out which is the smartest solution.
But is
I
the
guess
common
more of a
goal-
feasibility study, I guess, maybe.
I mean, just personally,
is it
I'm in
large?
favor of
traffic?
making sure that Erie Street is a dead end on a permanent basis, and you can't have access to 40. Because anytime you open that up to access to 40, then we're gonna get the truck traffic and we're gonna get the complaints from the residents. Again, it's a residential neighborhood. That street wasn't designed for heavy traffic, especially trucks.
Well, maybe that's just the simple objective that you can't access 40 from Erie Street.
Right,
The means of which we use to get there, we can figure that out later on.
right.
So turn both those streets into courts with no access to 40? Is that what you're saying?
Just coming off 40.
What do you mean both streets? You talking about Ontario too?
Yeah, I mean, why have two different, why treat the two streets differently? They're basically the same type of streets. I don't know. You know, if we're trying to make it more of a neighborhood,
I
right?
guess the difference is on Ontario Street, you can't access 40 from Ontario Street because it's one way going the other way. You know. So as long as we don't open that up and change that, you know,
That's what I'm trying to say. We've done it before. I don't know if we'll do it again.
yeah.
So conduct a feasibility study that considers keeping Erie a one-way street, creating a dead end at 40, creating a dead end at 40. Am I capturing this right?
Do you
How
want,
about you just say prohibiting access to 40 instead of using that term dead end?
Well, this is getting confusing for people. How about considers options to keep Erie as a one-way street, 2 prohibits access to Route 40. Anything else?
Now, when we say Erie as a one-way street, should we say from Route 40 to Julietta Street, one way that way?
Well,
Is that eastbound street?
yes,
Anybody?
the 800 block.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's eastbound coming off of 40. It's the one-way pattern.
keep Erie as a one-way eastbound street. Prohibits access to 40.
800 block of Erie, right?
Yep.
So it doesn't become the whole street.
Okay, hold on. Why is it doing that?
You type in O's instead of zeros.
No. It's a design thing.
Type it O.
There. I made it as O's, not zeros. Okay. Erie 800 block solution. A design solution should be considered, or instead of, maybe we should say a permanent design solution should be considered working in consultation with the citizens living on Erie Street. Conduct a feasibility study that considers options to keep Erie as a one-way street and to prohibits access to Route 40.
So when you say working with the citizens, 1, 5, is it a group? Is it 20? Is it majority? Just out of curiosity, because it, you know what I mean?
800 block of Erie Street.
Like, you see what I'm saying? When you consult because there's a few residents that aren't happy with any resolution. So You know what I mean? Is it majority vote? Is it?
I mean, I think they're just have to show up and
Consulting them.
testify.
At the council meeting?
Yeah, when this goes up for adoption, I mean, they're gonna have to exercise, the right to testify on this.
Right.
Okay. So that's the consultation piece is,
I mean, I mean, if they want to call up their lawmakers and their mayor, they have every right to do that. We've received a couple emails already this week.
So many times, EJ, what cities do, just like this traffic work group, is they ask for people to represent their community on a work group.
mhm.
And that would be considered in consultation with the citizens living on the 800 block of Erie. I don't think any action or decision should be made without making sure that they are an active part of the solution-making process.
Yeah, I get it. I was just for my own edification. I was not aware of what that means, like consultation. I didn't know if it was. Because is there anybody from Erie Street on this work group? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do we even want to say consultation with the citizens? I mean,
Agree with David, just should say consultation with the citizens.
huh? What'd you say?
Yes.
I agree with you, David, just should say consultation with the citizens. Every citizen can comment on this. It's not exclusive to the citizens on the 800 block.
Right, right.
Okay. Should we say the citizens of Havre de Grace?
No, I think, they're Hartford County residents embedded on the Hill. They may have a comment. I don't think you can exclude it.
Right.
Okay. Instead, do we want to say keeps it a one-way? If we're saying we want a feasibility to consider various options that,
I think your
we want to
end
say
game,
reduces traffic, right?
yeah, your end game is to reduce traffic but prohibit access to 40. Because I mean,
Well, I think the 2013 photo that you showed us, Adam,
yeah,
that should be an option.
yeah,
But that's not a one-way street. So I think you're right. It should just be to reduce, or what did you say? To prohibit access
the 40.
to Route 40.
Yeah, I mean, that's the end game here to
Yeah.
mitigate traffic.
Well, reduce traffic and prohibit access to 40.
Right, because the 2013 solution looked like it might be an agreeable option to the citizens there.
Yeah, I think after a month of doing this, right, the behavior is going to change. So I think if we implemented what we saw in 2013 this morning, you would have a traffic jam on Erie Street. But in a month, it might be a different story.
Okay, so are we okay with this recommendation now? For the Erie 800 block, so I'm just gonna say solution. Erie Street 800 block solution. A permanent design solution should be considered working in consultation with the citizens. Conduct a feasibility study that considers various options that 1, reduces traffic, 2, prohibits access to Route 40.
Sounds good, Casey. I make that a motion if you want it.
Please. Do I have a second?
Second.
So that was, who said the second? EJ?
Yeah.
Paul. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next is outreach.
Okay, well, okay,
Go ahead.
one food for thought. Are we potentially opening up Pandora's box? Because my fear is if the people of Grace Manor see what happens here on Erie Street, they're gonna say, what are you gonna do in my neighborhood to keep the people from using my neighborhood as a cut through to get to Weiss? So you said here that you're gonna come up with a permanent design solution that can consider consultation with citizens. Well, what about us in our situation? Because
Isn't the difference heavy vehicle traffic, large vehicles though? One's going to the grocery store, the other's,
I agree. So the question is, should we say reduces traffic of large vehicle in a
I wish
residential
this
neighborhood?
reduces truck, well, no, it's supposed to be closed off to truck traffic in the first place. The trucks are currently going down there illegally.
Okay,
And we'll
Well,
conflict
you
that.
know what? I think Dave raises a great point because this is the truck traffic committee, this is maybe work for another committee.
Mhm.
The issue is a truck can't go down there and turn around if it realizes it can't make it to Route 40, but a passenger car could.
Oh, how about this then? Considers various options to.
For
just
number one,
forget about
for
trucks
number
right there.
one, what if you said eliminates large truck traffic on Erie Street?
Well, because we already
Right,
eliminated it.
Right, it's already prohibited. So really, you're just talking about enforcement of restrictions on Erie Street. I mean, isn't that really what you're talking about?
Well, we could say it. I mean, you could say we've already eliminated, but we've also prohibited access to Route 40. So the question is, I mean, my first thought process, do we even need a feasibility study? I mean, we've heard from the residents, we've seen what happens with trucks and heavy traffic going down Erie Street. And we've come up with possibly a permanent design solution.
We don't know that to be true. And further, there's, a lot of other options that have been out there. We have a lot of evidence that shows that they keep trying to tweak it and change it and nothing really works because it keeps changing for various reasons.
So is there a need to actually address in this set of recommendations one single specific roadway? Because that's not really what we're tasked for. And it sounds like a potential solution has already been implemented by virtue of changing it to one-way traffic. So do you really need to include a specific recommendation around Erie Street in your recommendations? I'm asking, I'm not sure, because I'm not familiar
I
with.
would say yes, because it acknowledges, this work group would acknowledge that there was a problem on Erie Street with trucks.
Well, and that's why it should be limited to just trucks. I think Dave's right. And that this other issue that he's concerned about, that would go to the other committee, the Street Traffic Safety Committee, not this group.
Yeah, because our focus was truck traffic.
Considers various options that.
So in the first one, it should say, and I guess I would make an amendment to my motion. It should say reduces truck traffic. And under 2, prohibit truck access to Route 40. If you're going to keep that.
Well, the thing is it's
You see what it says, Paul?
don't you want to eliminate truck traffic?
Yeah.
Cut through, maybe.
Yeah,
cut-
instead of reduces, you could say eliminate truck traffic and prohibit truck
use.
access to Route 40.
How about instead of truck traffic, just say truck use?
but we're also prohibiting car access to Route 42.
Yeah, but again, we're back to this is for
That's
eliminating.
for the
trucks.
other committee though.
How about we rephrase the way this says and maybe say these various options should be considered and that that considers I know I'm just writing words, situation where so here we can't necessarily say no trucks at all. Wait, well, make it so it's impossible for a truck to get on or off. Because if they have a local delivery, like if somebody's moving and you need a moving truck down there,
They come on 40 and they would come out on
Right.
June,
so we can't say eliminates truck use then.
cut through use maybe, or a through away, something like that.
Right, you can just use the term through truck, I think is what you're talking about, right? So that's a pretty, even on signs, they regularly say
that how
no
you spell
through
it?
trucks.
Yeah.
I personally spell it THROUGH myself, but on signs,
Okay.
they often do put THRU because of, it reduces letter need. So,
Okay, a permanent design solution should be considered working in consultation with the citizens that eliminates through truck use. Various options should be considered. Let's just leave it like that. You guys good with that?
That looks good, Casey.
yeah, that works. You don't have to be specific.
Okay, Paul, would you like to amend your motion?
So moved to amend.
EJ, you seconded it. Are you
Second.
okay with the change to the amendment?
Accepted.
Everybody in favor?
Uh,
Thank you. Okay, next, outreach. For large carriers, dedicated truck GPS software providers will pick up the new GIS information, provide local stakeholder businesses a draft note to provide delivery companies explaining the new designated truck routes and penalties.
So
Louis,
I
we're
I
really
don't
gonna be
think-
relying on you.
Yeah, well, certainly we can do a lot of blast announcing to even nearby states, but in our membership, but that's going to have to rely a lot on outreach to local businesses because those trucks can be coming from anywhere. Right, and they're the ones who are in direct contact with them. But I don't think that the first paragraph is actually a recommendation. It's just more an observation. We're not recommending anything there. We're just stating that that's what will happen with the map. The
So if I say note
recommendation,
in front of it, are you good with that?
yeah, but I would probably put that underneath the second paragraph
Okay,
because the recommendation is really about the outreach effort.
Louis, what do you guys consider yourselves? You're an industry, what?
Associate, I would just put it, I think saying industry groups and associations is fine, or even just put it through industry, associations is fine, because there are other groups that will also communicate this to who represent specific segments of trucking, like the Associated Builders and Contractors and the Transportation Builders Association, you know, the utility associations. We'll share this information with them for disbursement to their membership as well.
Okay, everybody good with that?
I'm good.
Okay.
So
Next thing we on our, so we kind of have to go back to this and what you showed me, EJ, in the note in the chat, that's
Mhm.
not it.
That's straight from the website. That's the official MUTC
Right.
website.
That's not what we were,
That's the official one.
the right sign.
The other sign's a metric sign.
So. Louis, do you have any brilliant ideas?
Well, so the point is that you can use both that visual sign, they're both acceptable, or just the specific language, right, of no trucks. I would say that it would just say either, if you were using the specific verbiage, it would just say no trucks over. Again, I
5
keep coming
tons.
back to, I keep saying 10,000 pounds, but 5 tons is fine. On ABC roadway. And that's fine. No trucks over 5 tons, you know, GVWR on ABC Street. And that's fine. There are, it's easier to find examples, I think, of just the straight verbiage, but either one is recognized as acceptable. So you can use that symbol, and just down below, you just have that piece.
Okay.
So if you go to page 180.
Are we on the Maryland manual, EJ?
Yeah, it's page 136, but when you open it up, it's 180 out of 1002. So whichever gets it faster.
Hey, Casey, it's Paul. I apologize. I've got to pop off the meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try and come back on.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye, Paul.
Bye, guys. Thanks.
Take care, Paul.
So I mean, if we're gonna do like the official sign from the MUTCD code and keep them all uniform, it would make sense to just have the official sign, no trucks over, is it either 5,000, 7,000, whatever we're targeting. And then at the bottom, put to the city street, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it 2 or it should be the word
Or it would
on?
be on, right? It would be
On.
on. Yeah.
Yeah,
So would it look like what I just created?
Yes.
I mean, the verbiage is different on here, but the official sign says no trucks over 7,000 pounds, empty weight. The other option would be weight limit 2 tons per axle, 10 tons gross, or weight limit. There's a box truck weight limit, 8 ton. There's a tractor trailer weight limit, 12 ton, and then semi 16 ton. So it's I mean, there's options on 180 if you click on it. I can screenshot, put it in the group if you want.
But those aren't the same restrictions as what you guys are trying to authorize. And the most common restriction is no trucks over 5 tons, right, gross vehicle. So
Yeah, but the
I
language
see
says-
exactly where you're talking about, but that's not the language for the restrictions that you guys are trying to impose.
But it
Like
says
the one
in
over
full compliance
7,000.
with the manual uniform code of control device listing.
Right, but there are, that what I'm telling you is there are other signs that absolutely are legal. I'll pull one up in a minute. So, because the ones that are listed on that page are not the accurate that what you're trying to do. It's not about axle weight, it's about gross weight. It's not about 7,000 pounds empty weight. It doesn't have to do with empty weight or loaded weight. You want gross vehicle weight rating, and there are a lot of those. They're very common, actually. So hold on, and I'll pull something up online. So
I mean, it's not offline though. It's got to be from MUTCD manual, right? You can pull off anything online.
Well, I
right,
think
but what I'm telling you
what
is
the
that
manual is telling you is you can make your own sign that says this information.
none of those signs are an example of what you all are trying to do. Like if you're trying to mirror that sign, any of those specific signs, none of those restrictions are what are in place. The most common restriction, I guarantee you, in the state of Maryland about truck traffic is over 10,000 pounds gross vehicle weight. It's 100% that that's the case. And I will look through.
So on section 5 of 2B.59 at the very bottom says a bottom line of legend stating gross weight may be included if needed for enforcement.
And that's exactly what you want to do. Right? If you
That's what
don't
the 5
put
tons
that
is.
there, then you won't be able to, and you really won't be able to enforce the restriction, because it doesn't tell someone what is the minimum what is the allowed weight, right? Something below essentially 5 tons or less would still be legal on those roadways, which is a very small vehicle, right? It's not really a commercial vehicle. It's not defined as a commercial motor vehicle. The definition of a commercial motor vehicle is over 10,000 pounds gross vehicle weight rating. And that's what you're trying to do, is enforce against commercial truck traffic.
I just want to make sure that we don't have to change the sign again. You know what I mean? Because
Yep, absolutely. I
So,
guarantee
Louis-
if you guys reached out to SHA, they could provide you with absolutely one of those signs.
So Louis, what we have, is that correct? What it would look like?
It is, yeah, I think that would be fine. That's exactly what you're looking for. I know I keep coming back to 10,000, over 10,000 pounds, but that's just because that's the specific definition
Right.
of a commercial motor vehicle.
And I'm your public affairs person telling you I could say it in less letters.
Yep, you absolutely can. I'm just used to citing that piece myself. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So where are we with what we need to accomplish? Where's my notes? Okay, so do we agree to the signage as pictured here?
So I got a stupid question. Sorry, I'm just reading.
for it.
through. Adopt a work group map for designated truck routes. This tells you everywhere you can't go. Right?
Current designated. Adopt the work group map for designated truck routes
So you want to change that to
and prohibited routes within the city.
That works.
Yeah,
you've done
I
both.
think that sounds good.
We've done both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so what the next one, I gotta make notes here. Agree to signage. Signage. So we drafted example. And so I need a motion to accept the example.
I make a motion to accept the example.
Seconded by,
I'll second it.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone
And-
opposed?
I think Louis had a good point. We just maybe need to coordinate with SHA, make sure that
Right, and that's what we say, that we should work and coordinate, use of signage, work in coordination with SHA. I have this feeling, Dave, going down 155, that they have the right sign there. I think that's the only example of when the sign is correct. I was trying to look through my pictures of all the signs. It's amazing when you start looking around how different all the signs are in town. Yeah, no, not in here. We don't have it. Okay. Okay, which brings us to the next thing, which is the signage locations. I sent that around to everyone. I have two notes. First, that I added. Can you guys see my screen, by the way? Can you see the spreadsheet?
No.
No?
Yeah.
Okay,
So I still see the blue route, red route slide.
okay. I gotta figure something out here real quick. Stop share. Share screen. No truck locations. Share. Okay, do you see it now?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, so down at the bottom, I added Seagull Drive as the next location that we all agreed to. And I also made these two comments on this document, that this sign location will be removed if Erie remains one way. And that would be Erie between Juniata, or like actually on Juniata before the south side of Juniata. Actually, I guess the south side of Erie on Juniata, and then the north side of Erie on Juniata. Because it'll be one way and you shouldn't be driving a truck that direction. You shouldn't be driving any vehicle that direction.
Well, yeah, but I guess my question is if you don't have the sign, what would prohibit a truck from coming off of Route 40 and accessing Erie Street?
We have it right here, on line J, Route 40 eastbound before Erie.
Okay,
There'd be a sign there. Okay. Is everybody okay with the edits as is? Can I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Lovely. Okay. So I think that brings us to the conclusion of things that we had to accomplish. Let me look real quick on the our agenda. Yeah, that's everything on our agenda. Does anybody else have any comments or topics that you'd like to bring up related to this effort?
I'm good.
Okay. So the only thing outstanding, just to go as far as our due outs, is that we need to have the ordinance drafted, and Adam will work on that tomorrow. Adam, I have the day off tomorrow, so I can come help you if you need me to do anything.
Okay, because you're stopping by anyways, aren't you?
Yeah,
Okay, what time are you coming around?
whatever time you tell me. I have to go help my mom with a whole bunch of lists of things at her house. So
Okay.
I'd rather do that like in late morning throughout the afternoon. So if I could come over in the morning, that'd be best.
Yeah, how about like 9 o'clock?
That's perfect.
Actually, can I do 9:30?
Yep, 9:30. So I'll come over at City Hall at 9:30. And so then we'll get that out tomorrow to everybody for review. Please provide your responses to the chair by the 25th of June. And then I will also send the final slides for everybody to look over with the edits made to it with the map as well as appendixes. And if I could get just an email response back, whether you're good with it, and then we'll request to be put on the agenda, I guess, Adam, for
Yeah.
city council.
Are you thinking July 3rd?
Let's do the second meeting in July.
Okay.
And should we brief the mayor and administration prior, or do you think everything's okay as is?
I think right now you're fine. I've been keeping the mayor up to date on this and a lot of the staff at City Hall. I think right now we're good. And I mean, they'll be able to see the ordinances as well. So,
Right.
and that after you and I are done our process, I mean, that still has to go through the city attorney as well.
Okay. Well, cool. I really appreciate everybody's help on this. I really think that we work great as a team together, thinking through everything. And I think at the end, we're going to be able to provide something of value to the city to try to address some of the issues that we have with our truck, or not just our truck, with our traffic issues. So thank you.
I'd like to really personally thank Lewis for taking time out of his busy schedule to help us out.
Absolutely.
No,
Your-
I know
your
this is
input
everybody
tonight
working
is-
together. Everybody's taking the time. Everybody's taking the time.
Yeah,
So absolutely.
Thanks for the help, Lewis.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and get back to the live feed. Okay, anything else for the good of the order?
Noodles.
Okay, thank you all. I hope you have a wonderful evening.